Welcome back. Your favorite show with your favorite bro is back one more time to kick off, to commence, to start off week 8 of NFL action. Today, we kick it off down south in LA between two NFC teams. Rams are not really contenders, unfortunately, this year through injuries. But we'll get on to all of that in just a second. Let's first start off with rolling with the Vikings in this matchup between the LA Rams and um, the Minnesota Vikings. And why we're picking the Vikings today, you might be wondering. And I'll tell you why. Firstly, let's start off with the season that they were having. 5-0 start. Sam Darnold on his redemption tour the way Geno Smith was last year. Aaron Jones going over from Minnesota, from Green Bay to Minnesota, in division rival, so he has a little bit extra juice to him. You have Jordan Addison once he figures out how to keep his off the field issues in check. I feel like he will finally thrive just focusing on football. You have him. I still haven't mentioned TJ Hawkinson, who still needs to get healthier and get back into shape. And when he is healthy, he is a top 5 tight end. Do not get it mistaken. The offensive line, you have Darius on one side, you have Brian O'Neill on the other. The tackles are absolutely phenomenal. The inside of that O-line, they have, I think, been missing it. I don't think that O-line has ever been really secure, even since Teddy Bridgewater days. Even Christian Ponder days really was probably the last time there was a dominant offensive line with Adrian Peterson running behind it. Since then, this might be the stretch. Even with Kirk Cousins or Case Keenum, they did not have an offensive line quite like they do right now. So they have been winning the trenches battle. It was a very, very, very close game that they ended up losing to lose their, undefeated season so far against the Lions for the Vikings. So they are coming back with a little bit of revenge, especially with, having that bad loss on Sunday. And then you have Thursday to kind of, hit another team in the mouth, get all that, negative energy away from you. You're always going to take that. Now, and then let's talk about the defense. D-Flow, my guy, what is you doing? Why can't no other quarterback even look decent in it? I'm just flabbergasted just seeing that defense perform the way they've been performing, even after losing a prominent piece like a Danielle Hunter, and then having him replaced with a Andrew Van Ginkel. With no disrespect to Andrew Van Ginkel, but if you put their numbers, if you put those two guys right next to each other, everybody will say Danielle Hunter over Andrew Van Ginkel. But that's why you play football. And when it comes to football, Van Ginkel, is gonna show that he's a dog. Ivan Pace, rookie that they got out of Minnesota, I do believe. Excellent coverage linebacker. Excellent in run stops as well. Just a good flow between the defense. Communication with a veteran safety with Harrison Smith back there. They did have a tragedy that they've kind of gotten closer as a whole roster with, between the front office, between the coaching staff and the players, all the other staff that's in Minnesota. They've all came in together with the unfortunate demise of their rookie cornerback in the off season. That will be a motivational factor that will take them ways. Now let's move on to the Rams. Unfortunately for the Rams, they have been just derailed this season with injuries. We think about the injuries to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua as weapons. However, we're still not mentioning tight end one Tyler Higbee, dealing with injuries. The left tackle, backup, you know, like he's a backup, but at the same time, if your starting left tackle goes out, you don't want to put a third string left tackle for your quarterback's blind side, and that would essentially be what is happening in a sense. You are playing second and third string left tackles. Your starting left guard, your star left guard from last year, Steve Avila, unfortunately, he's been, you know, in and out of the lineup with injuries. So that offensive line has not been able to, you know, be itself from the end of the year that it was last year once they started gelling together. Kevin Dotson, while progressing last year, I do believe has regressed slightly this year. So there is still question marks around that O-line as well due to injuries. Unfortunately, in this game again, Troy Reader's out, John Johnson's out. Troy Reader being like, you know, essentially the reason why you traded away Ernest Jones. He's your number one linebacker in a sense. Him being out, that will definitely hurt the defense. John Johnson, he left to Cleveland, came back. Now he's, you know, he's always known that culture. He's been to the Super Bowl with the Rams. I don't believe he was in that 2020 roster when they actually won it, however. But he knows the culture, he knows the standard, and then he knows communication. Having a vet, just keeping it together, that's what's needed. So will probably, hopefully, be in the sidelines, but that is a lot of injuries to overcome. Kyron Williams, talk about the O-line regressing slightly. Kyron Williams' game has regressed while he is still getting touchdowns. His average has dropped a little bit. He's at about like 70 yards rushing per game. His rushing per carry, he was over 4. He's getting closer to that right now. He's still about 3.8, which helped a lot after that Raiders game last week. Unfortunately for us again, but I will not, bring my fandom into this little discussion real quick. Got to roll with the Vikings in this one after that 5-1 start. I think this is more of a dress up for Cooper Kupp to possibly get a second that the Rams want, but more likely he should be traded for a third if he is to be traded this season. And I think that's what it is. Like, I just think it is an audition for Cooper Kupp to, go out, show that he's not hurt no more, and then maybe the Steelers or Ravens come in and swoop in for him. Other than that, Rams unfortunately are having a tough season. Got to roll with the Vikings in this one. Kevin O'Connell against Sean McVay. He came from that coaching tree. He was an offensive coordinator in LA as well, so he might have a little something extra motivation like Gannon did with Philadelphia last year. So we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back very soon on Sunday. Love.